Yo, yo, yo. Check 1, 2, 3. Just bring this up to make sure that we're good. Just bring this up to make sure that we're good. We are. All right. I'm gonna. Well, I'll leave this here and I'll bring this to this side. Just so that I can keep track of everything. This side. Just so that I can keep track of everything. This side. All right. Alrighty. What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna be honest. Most of this is gonna be a little bullshit. It's gonna be a lot of. It's just gonna be a lot of, you know, we just chatting. And it's mainly because of this. It's mainly because of the narrative that I've seen around this thing. The narrative I'm seeing around the Steam Machine has kind of really annoyed me, and I'm not sure why. And actually, you know what? I am pretty sure why. It is because for some reason, I don't know what it is. We, and by we I mean everybody on the internet, just can't have a serious conversation about price and pricing and how it works. We just can't. Somehow we're like incapable. I couldn't tell you why, but somehow we are incapable of having like like non-brain dead conversations about how pricing works. Because all right, here's my thing, and this is the thing that really got me. So the Steam Machine is something that Steam announced like a while ago, right? Everybody's heard of everybody's heard of the Steam Deck. It's the handheld PC thing. Here, let's do this. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Let's do it. Do do do. Ba-dow. All right. Okay. Yeah, we're working fine. Yeah, Steam Deck. They don't sell the regular model anymore. They only sell the OLEDs. Um, $789 OLED display, 720p. It's a PC handheld. We've seen these just come up a lot in the past few years, basically since the Switch popped off. Everybody wants to get into the handheld market because they realize that there is a big market for it. Makes a whole lot of sense. All right, hold on. Give me 2 seconds, guys. We're gonna try this. Yeah, we're gonna try this. I just check on its properties and. All right. Default. So currently it should be pulling from my AirPods now. Let me just make sure. Input AirPods. Okay, cool. Anyway, I can turn off monitoring. Check it here. Input AirPods. Okay, cool. Anyway. Okay, so Steam Deck
off monitoring.
check it here. Oh, shoot. Input it. That's what I need to do. Steam Deck. Very common thing. Happened a while ago. Steam has absolutely and this thing is, by the way, more or less single-handedly responsible for revolutionizing Linux. Like this I don't want to say saved Linux, because Linux has always had a very strong community, but this thing made Linux, like this, and the Steam's contributions and support of Proton has made Linux way more viable, has made Linux way more popular, for sure. Like there's no denying or debating that. Linux way more viable has made Linux way more popular, for sure. Like, okay. And it like, I have nothing against the Steam Deck, other than the fact that, like, I've held one. It's big, it's clunky, it's not for me. If you own one and you like it, awesome. Here's so, like, we've known about this thing for a while. Then they announce this bad boy, Steam Machine here, right? Here's where we get into problems, because, well, we didn't know this price until very recently, so let's just ignore this. From the moment it came out, from the very moment that it came out, I had one thing and one thing only, or, well, from the moment that it was announced, rather, I had one thing and one thing only to say about this, which is, if it costs more than competing consoles, if it costs more than a PS5, more than an Xbox, there's 0 point to this existing. And the reason why there is 0 point to this existing, even before I saw the price, I said, if it doesn't cost as much as a PS5 or an Xbox, there's no point. The reason why there's 0 point is because of competition, right? That's why I was excited for this thing to exist, because I do think it deserves to exist if it's going to compete with consoles. At this price point, it is not competing with consoles. Both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X come with a 1 terabyte drive base. They both come with a terabyte drive base. This thing doesn't even have a terabyte option. We're going to ignore that part. $1049 with a controller is certainly a price. Now, I did hear that since I last looked at this, I'm pretty sure Apple raised their prices. But if we go to apple.com, go to the MacBook Neo. Oh yeah, they did raise their price. Look at that. The Education Store price is now $700. Wow. Wait, what is it when it's not education then? Also $700. Okay. Anyway, so it's not as good as it used to be, but you could get an Xbox Series X, which is now $800. So that has also gone up since I did this last. But an Xbox Series X is $800, and a MacBook Neo is $700, and that's $1,500. But the Xbox Series X is 1 terabyte, and the MacBook Neo, how much storage does this come with at its base price? I think that in and of itself is $512. Oh no, $256. Okay, $256 in its base config, cheapest price. Not to mention refurbished exists, but like $1,500, and you're getting 1.25 terabytes, which is it's more than double the base storage here, and you're getting 2 things instead of 1, but you are paying $500 extra. My biggest like problem with this is it doesn't quite compete in any market. It doesn't compete with consoles. It doesn't, because it's too expensive. Even with the price hike, the Xbox is still significantly cheaper, and it comes with a controller. So Is at 1128, the Xbox being 800 is still $328 cheaper. And the PS5 I think starts at 650 or 700, one of the two. Matter of fact, let's check it. How much is a PS5? 600. Wait, dang. $500 at Target? I know it's like Fortnite or whatever, but who cares? Okay. Wow. Huh, look at that. $500. I mean, apparently I can't do anything at. This is not even my zip code, but I'm not going to share my zip code. But anyway, $500. Now, granted, I think this might be the like. Oh no, no, it is. It's the slim model. So it's the slim PS5. The only thing is the digital edition, but it is $500, and a brand new PS5 digital edition is $579 from Best Buy. It looks like. Here we go. I'm gonna just use Best Buy because like that's the one that I can trust. PS5 Slim. So this is the non-digital edition one. Okay, so this is the one with the disc drive is 650, and then the one without the disc drive is 600. Is 600. Okay. Oh, and also yeah, you do have the $599. So the $600. You have a $600 Fortnite bundle, which is for some reason $500 on Target. Maybe they didn't get the memo. I guess I don't know. Anyway, point being, this is at 650. This is almost double the price. It's almost double. It's not quite double. It's almost double the price. So you're not competing with consoles. Okay. Are you competing with PCs? I mean, yes. Like I did go in. I did make my own PC price, PC part picker thing, to try and match it like spec for spec. Yeah, it is competing decently well with PCs, except with a PC tower, I can change literally everything in that down the line. Right now, RAM and storage is expensive. But the only things you can swap on this are RAM and storage. Whereas tomorrow, if I think 16 gigs of RAM is getting it done, which by the way, the PC part picker thing, I was looking for, Zen 4 architecture 6-core, so it's basically a Ryzen 5. I think Zen 4 is their second newest gen. The RDNA 3 is the Radeon, I think 7600 or something series, which, like, with that, 16 gigs of DDR5 and 8 gigs of, that's just on the GPU, there's VRAM, but 16 gigs of DDR5 memory and a 512 gig NVMe M2 SSD, and the case and everything, it came out to just around this price tag. Or wait, yeah, it was just around this price tag. It was a little more expensive than this. I will give it to you. For a PC, it's priced. For a PC, it's priced pretty competitively. The problem is with the PC, tomorrow when the RAM prices drop, tomorrow when the SSD prices drop, but also tomorrow when like GPU prices drop, or suddenly or like the next generation of NVIDIA cards come out, and then the last gen cards get cheaper. I can swap it. I can get a better card. I can get a better CPU. I don't get this. What is the point? What is the point of this thing's existence? If they wanted to make headroom into the console space, they should have made a console, which this looks like it wants to be. But then you have to price it like a console. And I don't even want to get into the Switch 2 because is this thing going to run games better than a Switch 2? Probably. It probably is. From what I'm seeing people say based on the spec sheet is like it's going to run 1080p 60 FPS, which is either on par or slightly better than how Switch 2 is running most games. But like, guys, like, what is the point of this? And I think the answer is there is no point, because at this price point, there is no point to buying this, other than if you have like a giant library of Steam games. But the thing is, if you have a giant library of Steam games, you probably also have a PC that you're already using to play them on. So why, like, who is this for? Who cares? Don't get me wrong, I want Steam to succeed. I don't want them to succeed with this, but I want Steam to succeed as a store because I do think they make some really good business decisions. But I don't get this at all. And I wish I could. I wish I could understand it. But it doesn't make any competition. Sadly, it'll get more expensive. What you see now is the cheapest. I think it probably. I think yeah. I think it probably will. I think it probably will get more expensive if the RAM squeeze continues. Um, I do see it getting more expensive. I also, and that's the thing is like I said, I want it to succeed. I think the Switch, or not the Switch, I think the Steam Deck or Steam in general, maybe if things get like when things get cheaper, like when RAM prices go down and when the prices of stuff in general goes down, I think they will. I think they will maybe try and pass that off to the consumer just because they've built a reputation as this kind of they've built a reputation as this consumer friendly, that's the word I was looking for, consumer friendly brand in the gaming industry. But I also don't see that happening. They have said that they're not subsidizing it at all, so I don't see that happening. I also just don't. It's more about like I don't even care about it getting more expensive as much as I do about the point of it. Because unless it gets significantly cheaper, unless it matches the price, unless it's direct price competition, indirect price competition with a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, which from what I understand at least, it doesn't. It seems it's about as powerful, maybe a little less powerful than those consoles. Unless it's in direct price competition with those consoles, why would I buy this? Like if I already like okay, the only people that I can see buying it, right, are people with large Steam libraries who want to get off of Windows, who don't have a very competent computer to run their Steam games, and want to be able to plug it into a TV and use a controller. Which, number one, is such a specific kind of person, but like any of those things are wrong. I don't see like why this would be better than just buying a PS5 and then buying a laptop, like a mid-tier laptop. Shit, even with the new price hike on the MacBook Neo, I would say your money is better off spent on a MacBook Neo and a PS5. No, this doesn't even get me. Don't even get me started on the Switch 2. I think that is, and especially with this being out, the Xbox price hike, and the PS5 just being $650. The Switch 2, in my opinion, is the best deal in gaming. At $500 even at $500 with the price, with the upcoming price hike to $500. Right now it's only $450, but with the upcoming price hike to $500, I think it's the best deal in gaming. Which is not a thing that I would have said a year ago when that thing came out, but now it is. I don't. I get it. I do. I get it. Things are expensive. RAM is expensive. Storage is expensive. I understand that. I got an email saying I'm qualified for a 2 TB with no controller. Definitely want to get off Windows for sure. No, I get that. Windows is garbage. I have like, okay, I'll give you a personal story here. I have, like me personally, I have not used Windows since 2018, 2019. I've been a Mac user for a long time, but just because like Windows is still a very popular operating system and it's on cheap machines and whatnot, you know, the family computer is a Windows computer. So I did have to do like I had to do some troubleshooting, and really simple things have been made exponentially more difficult because Windows is just a piece of shit software, or OS rather. Like they've changed the copy and paste buttons and told nobody, and they've made them glyphs now, which like should be more readable and somehow isn't. And my like I was trying to figure out how to copy paste something on that computer. Couldn't figure it out. It's gotten bloated. The indexing was already not fast before. It's even worse. Like the search, like the File Explorer search functionality is completely busted. The like Windows Start menu search is completely busted. That's been the case since like Windows 8. I fully understand everybody wanting to get off of Windows. Here's the thing. From what I've hold on, we can Google this. Okay, you can't install, it looks like you can't install SteamOS right now. Wait. Wait a minute. No, you can. If you have, sure. If you have this Rufus utility, you can create a bootable drive for SteamOS and put it on your current shitty Windows computer. Like, yeah, that's what this article is about. SteamOS 3.8 is out right now. You can download the official operating system image and try it out for yourself. You do have to have an AMD graphics card because that's just what Valve requires, I guess. But like, whoop-de-doo. Apparently, they're working on NVIDIA support. But you can get SteamOS on your current computer, which raises another question, which raises even like more large questions about like, well, then why bother? Why bother? Yeah, it doesn't work well with NVIDIA GPUs. Yeah, I heard. And it's like, no, like I do get that. I do. Um, I'm trying to hide these ads, but they're part of the. Looks like they're part of the article, unfortunately. Anyway, I like it does say that they don't work with NVIDIA GPUs, but like Linux exists, guys. Linux has existed for many, many years. If the big issue you have is that like you have a very, very good Steam library, like a huge Steam library, you don't need SteamOS to run Proton. From what I understand, Proton you can just use on any Linux distro. Can you use Proton on any Linux distro? Yeah, you can use Proton. It's the compatibility layer. And the core requirement is just running the Steam client. Boom. You can also use Proton outside of Steam by utilizing community tools. Yeah, distro compatibility, because Proton is built into the standard Steam client. Oop. There we go. Because Proton is built into the standard Steam client, it functions similarly across popular distributions like Ubuntu, Debian, Fedora, and Arch. I don't know about Bazzite. I don't know about Bazzite, but like it works. Unless the only games that obviously it doesn't work for is the kernel level anti cheats, which is like your Valorants and whatnot. But you can't play those on the Steam machine either. You can't. So I think that the Steam machine is a waste of money, but also that you're allowed to waste your money. But don't waste your money. Spend your money better. Clone of SteamOS, except everything works on it. Oh, is that? Oh, like Bazzite is SteamOS, but everything works on it. I see. That's cool. Um, I mean, hey, if it works, it works, right? Like, I I don't I don't get the point of this. Mr. at beat it 327. Do you like it says you said you have it says you have an email that you qualified for 2 terabytes with no controller. Do you have a like do you have a reason for buying a Steam machine? Like can I or like did you apply it? Because I know it's like a wait list or something to buy one. Did you get on the wait list and are you going to buy one? And if so, why? I'll give you I'll give you a second to catch up and respond here. Okay. Oh, here we go. Answer is simple yes, only because prices will go up. Prices will go up on what? The Steam machine? Like my the point that I'm making here is that I think the Steam machine as a purchase is pointless. So like if your thing is I'm going to buy a Steam machine because the price of the Steam machine will go up, okay, why would that matter when the Steam machine in and of itself, like what it, you know what I mean? What is the point of I don't understand the reasoning of like, oh, prices will go up. Or are you saying like prices across the board will go up and therefore getting in on the ground floor of the Steam machine, getting a box that just works? Because here's the problem: if you, I'm mostly a console player. Also, I wanted the same on my Steam library as well. So if you're mostly a console player, right? Number one, what console? Number two, what like is your Steam library that built out then? Because if you're playing on console, you're not playing on Steam. You're gonna either get digital downloads off of the Xbox or PlayStation Store, or Nintendo eShop, or whatever other console you're on, and or physical games. Which that's the other thing that I haven't even. I PC gaming has moved away from physical gaming for a long time, and I understand it, even if I hate it. Um, the $650 PlayStation 5 and any physical games that you buy for it will always be available no matter what until the end of time, even if the internet implodes overnight. You can tomorrow buy, or well, not even tomorrow, today, you can buy a PlayStation 5 with a disc drive and a game for it on the disc for $650 for the PlayStation itself. And let's say, what's the Spider Man? I don't care, right? Spider Man 2. I don't particularly like Spider Man 2, but Spider Man 2. You can buy a PlayStation 5 for $650 with the disc and Spider Man 2 for $70, the disc. And you can, and tomorrow, if the internet ceased to exist, you could still play that game. That is not the case for Steam because it is dependent upon its servers, it is dependent upon the internet. Without that, you can't get anything on Steam. That's just how digital markets work. That's also the case with the PlayStation Store, like the digital storefront. That's also the case with the Xbox Store. That's the case with the Nintendo eShop as well. There are, like, this isn't new, right? But yeah, across the board, everything will go up. PS5, PS6, Xbox, everything will become hybrid PC console. Therefore, prices will go up. Yes and no. Yes, prices will go up because the cost of things are going up, right? At the same time, the difference between the PS5, PS6, and the Steam machine is the prices will go up across the board. The Steam machine will either they'll have to make a Steam machine 2 to keep up with the PS6 and whatever the next Xbox is, because it's already behind, right? Computationally, it's already behind. Um, if the like whatever the PS6 and the Xbox, the next Xbox, what is it called, Helix, right? Yeah, Xbox Helix. Whatever that ends up being, they will be graphically, computationally stronger than the Steam machine already, like is, right? They just will be. Um, yes, they will be expensive. I am willing. Okay, I'm not willing to bet you money because I don't know you, but I'm willing to bet. I would be willing to bet money if I was a betting man. I would be willing to bet money that the PS6 would still cost less than the Steam machine. And it's because of the it's because of the model. It's because of the business model. Sony's business model has been, and I am willing to bet would continue to be, to take a loss, like genuinely just eat the price, eat the cost of the product, especially at the beginning. Just eat the cost of manufacturing, wait for manufacturing to get a little bit cheaper, and take a profit later on. Maybe they would have to raise prices in the future if the market conditions can continue to be where they are. But if market conditions continue to be what they are, and Sony's cost goes up on making PS6s with new hardware included, nah. $1,200 is a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous price. That's a ridiculous expectation. I wouldn't buy that for a second because Sony also understands that the reason that people buy the PlayStation over buying a PC is because it's cheaper and easier. It's a market segment thing. So this is what I was talking about, right? Is the people who want a PC, like the people,
every time I hear PC players talk about like, oh, why don't you just get PC? Um, Most of the people, the vast majority of people who are buying the millions and millions and millions of consoles that these companies are selling are normal people who couldn't give less of a shit about like whether or not their graphics are the highest tier or whether or not they're getting the best like digital deals with like sales and stuff on Steam. I know that Steam does a lot of sales and they are usually very good. Most people who play these consoles don't care about that. They just know that there are a handful of games that they buy every year and play every year. There are a handful of games that they want to play with their friends. And so they and all of their friends buy that box. And that's it. PCs are absolutely more popular amongst enthusiasts because the PC is made for enthusiasts. But for the average person who couldn't give less of a fuck and just wants something that they can plug into their TV and play the game that they like, they're buying the box. Sony also understands that the reason that that transaction works for them, the reason why people buy the new box, is because they can afford to. And they're also realizing currently, because of just how high their prices are, I don't like $650 is a significant amount of money. The PlayStation 5 has no real competitors. The Xbox Series X just got increased in price to $800 and nobody's buying it anyway, so who cares? It has not gone above $650. I would be willing to bet that by the time the PS6 comes out, the PS5 will go up in price again. I highly doubt, I'm willing to bet money that the PS6 probably releases at or below $1,000 because there is a price wall. There's like it's just a marketing thing where the average person that's buying a PS5 probably could not wrap their head around the idea that the average person buying a PS5 could not wrap their head around the idea that the box that they plug into their TV costs $1,000. They can't. I I wish Steam luck depends on the RAM drama. Um, it's interesting. I think it does depend on the RAM drama. I also see the RAM drama dropping off by the time the PS6 actually comes out. I also see Sony waiting. I won't lie to you. I see Sony because like how many units has the PS5 sold? 93 million units since November 2020, according to Sony Interactive Entertainment's business data and sales. As of March 31st, 2026, it sold over 93 million units. Um, yeah, like I mean, it's selling faster. It's selling faster than the PS4 did for sure. I am not sure that it will outsell the PS4. I'm not. I'm not sure it'll outsell the PS4. I don't see it happening. The PS4 generation was until 2020, right? I'm totally fine with PS5 Pro, even if they push the PS6 back till 20. Exactly. That's my point. I don't see Sony even bothering to release the PS6 because while they've done numbers with the PS5, they've not done the kind of numbers that they could do, right? The PS4 lasted. When did the PS4 come out? 2013 or 2014? PS4 2013, so 7 years. The PS4 lasted from 2013 to 2020, which means that next year it'll be the same amount of time that like the PS4 and PS5 will have been out for the same amount of time. The PS4 outsold the PS5. Like so far, I just had it. God damn it! I just had it. Where was it? Here it is. As of June 30th, 2022, the PS4 sold more than 117 million units. The PS5 has sold more than 93 million. Mind you, that is absolutely like the entire family of systems, right? PS5, PS5 Slim, PS5 Pro. Same with PS4. It's going to be base PS4. It's going to be the PS4 remodel. It's going to be PS4 Slim. It's going to be PS4 Pro as well. It's getting like I don't see them releasing the PS6 until the PS5 breaks the 100 million count. I don't see it happening. Um, like there's I don't really see the point in it either. Their sales, the number isn't there yet. PS4 was the best because it had themes. Sure. Okay. I mean, like that's not to discount it. Like you can like what you like, but the themes were not what sold me on anything. My primary console for this generation, the PS4 generation, was the Nintendo Switch, and that thing had two themes, black and white. That it had light mode and dark mode. Those are the only themes that it had. So the themes did not do anything for me, but I'm glad that you enjoyed them. Yeah, like, and that's just it, right? The PS5 Pro is still doing very well. We've hit to some degree a level of diminishing returns. It's small things, but you don't miss it till it's gone. I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. You don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore. Yeah, with PS5 Pro especially being the way that it is and diminishing returns of graphics in general, I I don't see Sony in any rush. And the PS5, by the way, is still selling. Or it sold over the last 2025, it sold even less. Um, but like it still sold 16 million units in 2025, which yeah is less than the 20 almost 21 million units that it sold in 2023, but it was significantly cheaper in 2023. Um, People had significantly more disposable income in 2023. So, it, yeah, I don't know. I think I don't see a point. I don't see a point, and I guarantee you, if these numbers are anything to go by, I don't see Sony seeing a point in releasing a PS6, particularly until the RAM pressure is a little less intense. And it's more than just RAM; it's also SSDs because now with the PS5, they and Xbox both set SSDs as standard for gaming in particular. And the problem is, okay, the problem is the way that the consoles go is the way that everything goes. So if Xbox and PS, if Xbox Helix and PS6 decide that the future is going to be, you know, AI upscaling, which like the Switch 2 is already kind of doing, right? A lot of games on Switch 2 are running at like they're running at sub HD quality on the hardware and then being DLSS upscaled to like 1080 and 4K. Um, in those like under those circumstances, and that's how the PS5 Pro works too, isn't it? Like PSSR, there's their PlayStation Spectral Super Spectral Resolution or whatever the hell it's called, is also just like an AI upscaler, the way the DLSS is. Like that's probably what's going to happen. Is like they're going to start pushing that technology, and once they start pushing that technology, then like everybody is going to get into that technology. And that's what happened with the generation. That's what happened with this generation. It's just like FSR. What's the difference between FSR and DLSS? Upscaling technologies by intelligently scaling it up. Okay. Yeah. Right. Obviously FSR because it's an AMD thing, but I mean, still, since it's, yeah. Um, but the point being, it's using the same underlying, it would be using the same underlying technology. It's an upscaling, it's still upscaling tech. The only difference being DLSS relies on AI hardware and neural networks to reconstruct and upscale the image, whereas FSR primarily is software based spatial or temporal upscaling. Okay. Yeah, I think it's only going to get more DLSS esque the next generation. I think FSR has already started moving towards AI based stuff because I know AMD is also making AI based pushes in their stuff as well. I like, I don't know, man. However the consoles go, the industry goes. The console started supporting ray tracing, and the console started supporting SSDs. Now every game is designed with SSDs in mind, and more games are designed with ray tracing in mind and ray tracing capabilities expected. Right, like you had the Indiana Jones game, you had the Star Wars Outlaws, I think it was called, Assassin's Creed. So before that, the PlayStation 4, the big upgrade was just like raw quality. FSR 4.1 Steam Machine is the first to have this other than some PCs. FSR 4.1 is also like an AI upscaler. Steam Machine is the first to have this other than some PCs. Oh, okay, so the Steam Machine is getting AI upscaling from AMD. I mean, yeah, it's the future. It's like, and honestly, of all the things that you could use AI to do, this is probably the least. This is probably the least bad, because it does significantly. It does make it significantly easier on hardware. So like you can have weaker hardware put out a better image. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on Switch 2. It looks great. It looks like it doesn't always look maybe as good as the PS5 version. Like it maybe doesn't always look as good as the PS5 version, particularly in its quality setting. But like the lighting effects are still there. The shadows are about as good, honestly, because the shadows weren't good on the PS5 version either. But the shadows are still okay. Honestly, the only thing that I notice in like moment to moment gameplay, the only things that I notice are sometimes there are slightly lower res textures and lower res like world detail in terms of like the model itself of world detail is less. There's just less polygons on like mountains and stuff. Like not significantly less, but enough that like if I get close, I can notice. And some like artifacting around hair. Like sometimes it has a bit of that DLSS shimmer. Um, Same thing with Resident Evil 9. Resident Evil 9 looks awesome on Switch 2. It looks really good. The textures are a little lower quality, and Grace's hair doesn't have the strands thing. But 4.1 is baked into SteamOS, so this means everyone can just have this by switching over to SteamOS. 4.1 is baked into Steam. What the hell does that mean? What is FSR 4.1? Machine learning powered upscaling technology. Okay, so 4.1 uses that. And then Proton experimental. I mean, cool. How does that? The way that, like, I guarantee you, by the way, that it's not going to make just anything that has SteamOS look better. Like, if I put SteamOS on my old, GTX 1080 Ti PC, it's not gonna magically get like much better results. It might get better results than running it natively, because that's how upscaling works. But you do need the hardware horsepower to be able to do machine learning based upscaling. Here we go. Yeah. RDNA 3 GPUs, which demonstrated a handy performance increase over native rendering on RDNA 3, but a recent comparison by German outlet Computerbase has revealed that there are noticeable performance regressions when comparing 4.1 to 3.1 on RDNA 3 GPUs. Bingo. So on the AMD Radeon RX 7900, wait, RX 7600, isn't that the same thing? Hold on. RDNA 3. RX 7000 series. RDNA 3 is the. Hold on. That is the Steam Machine one. Right? Semi custom RDNA 3. Yeah. Okay. So, at least according to this. At least according to this German outlet Computerbase, there are regressions when comparing FSR 4.1 to 3.1, and 4.1 is the one with the AI tech, and 3.1 is the one without it. And the Steam Machine uses RDNA 3 architecture. Apparently, it uses like a custom one, so maybe it avoids that problem by having that custom silicon. Jury's still out, I guess. Yes, it will. That's the whole point, even if it's a small difference. Here's the problem, though. If you have hardware that's capable of running something at, okay, FSR is something that runs on everything. Correct me if I'm wrong, but FSR is something that can run on, because it might not be necessarily open source, but if I'm remembering correctly, FSR is FSR open source? Yeah, FSR 3 is open source. Huh. So, like, the Xbox, which also has an AMD GPU in it, and the PlayStation, which also has an AMD GPU in it, will get FSR and it will be better. Like, yeah, being baked into SteamOS, cool. The big problem with that is more that SteamOS is just a Linux distro, and things are less compatible with Linux and may have to run on Proton already have FSR on certain. Yeah, exactly. So my point being that, like, now of course it's dependent on the hardware though, because if the hardware can process the neural networks, like if it has the, like with the way that NVIDIA does it, from my understanding, is that they have specific dedicated compute units on the GPU whose job it is to deal with the neural networking and processing required to take a low res image and turn it into the high res image through DLSS. Assuming this works essentially the same way, I think that is it the same way? Yeah, it works the same way. FSR4 uses AI accelerators, but it's the same thing. DLSS relies on tensor cores, which are NVIDIA's version of different terms, same result. DLSS apparently does have better results, but I digress. That has more. I mean that I would say is more to do not necessarily with like preference, but like yes, it will. That's the whole point, even if it's a small difference. Look, if anything can run it, that means that like even a Windows computer could, which means SteamOS having it baked in doesn't necessarily mean anything. Number one, especially if the game doesn't support it. Um, Especially because when you play a game on SteamOS, most of the time it is a Windows game that is running through Proton on Linux, which because SteamOS is a good OS, unlike Windows, you might get some performance gains even through translation. And Proton is an excellent translation layer. I think it's a wash, man. Like this doesn't feel like a point for SteamOS to me, really. And for the record, like I want to make it clear, I don't have anything against SteamOS. It is completely debloated unlike Windows. Yeah, exactly. Like I like SteamOS. What is annoying me though is the Steam glaze that I'm seeing. Um, Not specifically from you, Mr. Beat at 327, but like just in general, there is this like really annoying there's this really annoying level of Steam glaze that I'm seeing in comment sections and whatnot on the internet, and it's like, guys, Steam is a company, just like Xbox, just like Sony, which runs PlayStation, just like Nintendo. We don't have to like there. We don't have to glaze a company. I was watching. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I was watching the LTT video on it. That's where I found out that the Steam Machine got. That's where I found out that the Steam Machine got its price revealed. Um, let's see. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, you know what? Now that I'm looking for it, I can't see them. Hmm. You know what? Now I'm seeing a lot less. Now I'm seeing a lot less. 'Cause, 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 Mm, Okay. Ooh, oh, here we go. Kind of crazy how AI has literally screwed everything up. It's not just. Okay. Yes. Number one, absolutely. Yes. AI definitely has screwed over a lot of stuff. At the same time, at the same time, right? People are saying that the original price, like people did the math. Let's talk about Steam. Yeah, because I want to talk about it. I do want to talk about it because I think there is a level of glaze happening that needs to be addressed, but there's cool stuff to address as well. The main thing though is I don't get the point of the Steam machine because it doesn't seem like a good deal in any sense of the word. It's not a good PC. You can get better PCs. You can get similarly priced PCs that are similarly powerful, maybe even a little bit better. Um, all right. Anyway, I feel like you can get. Could have sworn I heard noises and shit. Anyway, um, yeah, you can get PCs that are better for more money, obviously, or you can get similarly priced PCs for similar, if slightly better performance. Um, but like it goes back to pricing, right? People out here saying people in this comment section are saying the original price should have been 750 according to IGN's interview with Valve, or like based on the pricing differentiator things, it would have been around it should have been around 750 when it launched. And then because of the RAM and SSD crisis, that they had to increase the pricing. Guys, had the RAM and SSD thing, and so as a result, right? What is causing the RAM shortage? What is causing the RAM crisis? What is causing the SSD crisis? It's AI. We should absolutely hate AI. At the same time, if that wasn't the case, the PS5 would not have gone up in price. Neither would have the Xbox. And they started at 500, and by this time in their lifespan, if they hadn't had to deal with the AI price increases and the hardware shortages and whatnot that have happened for the past few years, they would have gone down in price, because the way that the model has literally always worked has been for Xbox and Sony since, I want to say, since the PS1 for Sony, but it might have been since the PS2. But the point being, you make a device that's like relatively cutting edge. You make a device that has like a lot of compute and it is like really powerful and it's blah 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 blah, and it costs a lot of money. But you sell it at a loss upfront, and then over time, as cost of production gets cheaper because the components are not changing and computation has moved on, and so your thing is now not cutting edge. It is like a few generations behind. The price has come down. Now you're making so much of a profit on the product itself. Not to mention, you were already making a profit on software sales, especially after digital distribution came around and like digital storefronts. Like the PS4 and Xbox One model was this model. The PS4 and Xbox One, even when they released, they were not like highest of the high end computers, but they were relatively high end. And then after a couple of years, when the price of it came down, they were selling each box at a profit plus all of the profit from digital storefronts. They take a 30% cut of every single game sold digitally. Now you're making so much of a profit on each box that you could discount the box by like 20% and still make money. So that's what would happen is like Black Friday sales, you'd cut the price of the box from like it would come down from, what did the PS4 launch at, like $300? You could buy that thing for like 200 by the end of its lifetime. So the business model has always been sell at a loss at the beginning and then eventually make a profit, and then pass some of your savings on to the consumer. Even 200 to 300 off would be nice, at least, of the Steam Machine. While you're responding to that, then the thing would come down in price. So, like, by now, if the AI crisis hadn't happened, the Steam Machine, okay, 200 to 300 off the Steam Machine. I mean, honestly, if it was 200 to 300 off, then it would be price competitive with the PS5, and that's fine. If it was price competitive with the PS5, then I would actually not care. Then I would be like, this is for everybody, right? Because Steam doesn't require that. I would say it's a great deal. Honestly, if it was the same price as the PS5, or maybe like a little bit more expensive than the PS5, the PS5 is 650. The PS5 is 650. If it was 700, maybe even 750, right? Which it was originally supposed to be. If that was the case, I would say this is an excellent deal, because with the PS5 you have to pay for online, and with the PS5 you have even less like upgradability. They're like, and also I just think the Steam storefront is a little bit better. The only thing that I would give the PS5 is, number one, exclusives, and number two, physical games. But like, as a deal, if it was price competitive with the PS5, I would say this is a good deal. People should buy it. If that was the case, I would never have gotten my I would never have got my email. That's for sure. Yeah, because it would have been more popular. But like, the thing is, people are in the comment section blaming like AI for making this so expensive. It's clear to me that their plan from the beginning was to not subsidize this thing. So like, if the AI bubble hadn't happened and the PlayStation and Xbox hadn't been forced to raise their prices as well, and Nintendo also is raising their prices later this year, but if the other companies hadn't been also forced to raise their prices, as well as Steam, the PS5 and Xbox would have been even lower in price. Without the AI price increases, it still would have been $750. The PlayStation and Xbox, by this point in time in their lifespan, would probably have dropped down to like 400. Like, they would have dropped by $100. I don't know that they would have dropped necessarily the whole year, but like Black Friday sale, they would have been on sale for like $400. So like, it still would have been significantly more expensive. And this is my problem. This is my problem with the Steam Machine fundamentally. They are not subsidizing the Steam Machine. Yeah, I know. That's my problem with the Steam Machine, is if I wanted a PC that could run SteamOS, why wouldn't I just build a PC that can run SteamOS? Because I can run SteamOS on my PC. I just have to create like an installer key with a flash drive. I can do that. I can do that without needing to buy your box. And then if I make my own PC, every single piece of it is upgradable, right? If I wanted a console experience, well, the console's cheaper. So like, this is my problem with the Steam Machine, is like, even when you take the, you don't want to deal with the labor of building a PC. Unfortunately, you are correct, and that is why they just buy a console. Like, for me, it's a market segment issue, right? The people that don't care enough to build a PC but still want to play games, they just buy a console. Are there people that want to get into PC gaming that would have maybe given this a shot? Yeah, if it was cheaper and if they were, but console keeps us locked into the ecosystem. Yeah, that's the point. People don't care. The average consumer does not care. They don't give a single shit about lock-in. You want to know how much? You want to know how much the average consumer doesn't care about locking into an ecosystem? I'll tell you. In America, it's like 90-something% of people of Gen Z use iPhones, and like I think 70% of the overall market in America uses the iPhone. and have like the whole Apple ecosystem lock in and everything with iMessage and the blue bubbles. That's known outside of America. So that's why I also choose to buy the Steam machine, because you don't want to get locked into an ecosystem. I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, but the Steam machine is also locking you into an ecosystem. It's locking you into Steam's ecosystem. Like, Steam is an ecosystem by itself as well. The Steam storefront is an ecosystem. It'll let you do it. Not online subscription. Yeah, you are saving that money for sure. And I think that's like that is the one really good thing about that is the one really good thing about Steam is like you don't have to pay for online. And I do love that. I do. Um at the same time, and this is gonna sound maybe bad, it's very clear that like for the vast majority of people, doesn't matter. It doesn't. It really just doesn't matter. Um, the Nintendo subscription is like $20. The with the expansion pack, it's like $50 a year. Game Pass has gotten a little expensive, but I think for the core thing, which gets you the online, it's how much is actually how much is Game Pass? $10 a month. It used to be better. I will say it used to be better when they had Xbox Live Gold, and it was just $60 a year. Now it's $9.99 a month, which means it's $120 a year. So it has doubled in price. Um, which yeah, that sucks. $120 a year for $120 a year for online. Sucks to suck. PlayStation, how much is PS Plus? PS Plus costs between $10.99 and $11.99 per month. Sony increased the monthly, keeping the. Oh no, but you can buy annual though. Essential is $80 for a year. I spent, if not millions, on PS. I had my account for 25 years. I figured I'd try to switch it up. I mean, look, I absolutely do agree with you. Like I'm never going to tell anybody they're stupid for switching it up because they don't want to pay money. That is a very valid reason to switch up, is to save money. It's extremely valid. At the same time, it's pretty damn clear that like it's really clear that like it doesn't, the vast majority of people don't care. And I don't know that the Steam machine as a concept would ever get the groundswell of like PlayStation people jumping ship like en masse, or Xbox people jumping ship en masse, uh, just because they don't have to pay for online. I think the Steam machine is a bad idea in concept, unless Steam fundamentally changes. Unless Steam fundamentally changes their stance on subsidizing. Because I also heard what you said, and they said it's because they want to keep their like thing. They want to keep their platforms open and free of competition, or sorry, free of. They said free of something. Hold on. Here we go. While this may seem, this is a quote, by the way, from a Verge article, and this is a quote from Valve. While subsidizing the console, subsidizing the hardware might seem like an easy solution, it doesn't align with our beliefs about how healthy ecosystems are built. If there's anything we're religious about at Valve, it's our belief that open systems are better in the long run for ourselves and for consumers. The openness of the PC ecosystem in particular has enabled it to be the primary driver of hardware and software innovation because anyone with an idea for a way to do something better was able to take a shot at it. When companies sell their hardware under cost for competitive advantage or buy exclusive content, they're doing that to build a more closed system, one where you don't get to choose what software you want to use. We don't want that for PC hardware, and we don't think you should want it either. You shouldn't feel like you have to buy Valve hardware. You should be able to view it as one option alongside all the other devices for playing games and select the one that makes sense for you. This means you get to decide which device fits your personal trade-offs around things like price, performance, form factor, peripheral support, and everything else you care about. That's the strength of the open PC platform, and subsidizing hardware runs counter to it. Here's the thing. Yes, but in doing so, you have created a product that is not competitive in the PC space, nor competitive. It's not competitive in the PC space because I can buy a better system than yours, and that, like, that is what you said you wanted. But that also means that if I buy a better system than yours, I'm not giving you money, except for software sales, which you would have gotten anyway. And it's not competitive in the console space because it's too expensive, because you refuse to subsidize it. So it's a box for no one. Or, okay, I shouldn't say a box for no one, but it's a box for a very, very, very limited number of people. Which, especially for hardware, is bad. It's just bad. It's bad money. It's bad spending. Hardware only, like when you're making hardware, it only makes sense at scale because the cost of making stuff is really high. Like making stuff costs a lot of money. So it only makes sense to make stuff if you're going to make it at scale. Like even without the AI stuff, just making a product costs a lot of money, and the more of them you make, the cheaper per unit it gets. And when you've created a product that is not really meant for, it is meant for a very niche subset of people, so niche to the point where I could like comfortably say it's made for no one. And then there will absolutely be people that are like, I want one, it was made for me. If you want one, buy it. It's your money, do what you want. You don't have to justify your purchase of something. Particularly, you don't have to justify your purchase of something to strangers on the internet. But like from a business standpoint, is it still will sell out? Yeah, because they're not making like high volumes of it. And number one, they're not making high volumes. Number two, there are 8 billion people in the world. Like the best selling console, I want you to understand this. The best selling console of all time, the PlayStation 2, has only sold like still less than 175 million units over the course of like 20 years or even longer. 175, by the way, is more than it sold. 175, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, divided by 8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. The best selling console of all time, the PlayStation 2, which has sold less than 175 units, but for simplicity's sake, I'm rounding up to 175 million units over the course of its entire lifetime. that is still only 2.18% of the entire world population. The best selling console of all time has only ever sold to 2% of the world's population. Over 20 years. So, like, it will sell out. You are correct. But that's just because there are a lot of people in that niche. And there's a lot of people in that niche because there's a lot of people, period. Anyway, it's about to be 5:30. I've been going at this for how long? An hour and 20 minutes. Wow. Alrighty. I am going to leave now. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm gonna go start cooking probably. That's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go start cooking. All right, Joe. It was good to honestly. It was. I'm very happy that like I had a consistent chatter to like continue the conversation with. Sometimes I have to. Sometimes I end up cutting these short because there's like nobody to bounce off of. So thank you, Beat It 327, for hanging out for as long as you did. Um, yeah, I'm gonna. I'm gonna hit the road. Good convo. If you do end up getting that Steam Deck, enjoy your Steam Deck. Oh, thank you. I really don't do this for subs. I do it because it's a platform on the internet where I can just like talk. But I appreciate it. Um, cool. All right. Peace out.